I have to move on to the next page now. There are many pages of this one. By a she-wolf, there's a little gnat, and I hate it. Hello there, storytellers, and welcome to another video. This is another rendition of Why Is This a Thing? The time when I ask myself why something exists, and I go out and find out why, and I share my knowledge with all of you. If you have followed me on any social media platform or know me in real life, you know that Valentine's Day, not my favorite thing. But every February 14th within the United States of America, it's just a holiday tradition that I don't get it. It's known for pink and red hearts, flowers, chocolates, and large declarations of love. But how did this holiday get so mainstream, and more importantly, why? So this video was actually a lot harder to research than I originally thought it would be, and most of that has to do with the amount of inaccuracies and just like inconsistencies in stories. It was a shit show to get through. Many believe that we celebrate this holiday because of the Christian Saint Valentine, or Valentinus, I believe. But what you did not know, there actually are 3 of them, at least. There are multiple origin stories of this love-filled holiday, so let's talk about them. Some say that the origins of Valentine's Day originate before Christianity became the cool kid in school. Now, in ancient Rome, pagans celebrated a festival called Lupercalia, which is celebrated on February 15th. The legend goes that the ancient king Amulius ordered Romulus and Remus, his twin nephews and founders of Rome, to be thrown into the Tiber River to drown in retribution for their mother's broken vow of celibacy. We all know what I could say here, but I'm just gonna not this time around. A servant took pity on them and placed them inside a basket to float down the river in, and the river god floated them downriver all the way until it was caught in the branches of a fig tree. The brothers were then rescued and cared for by a she-wolf in a den at the base of the Palatine Hill, where Rome was founded. The twins were later adopted by a shepherd and his wife, where they learned all about their father's trade, and after killing the uncle who originally ordered them to death, they came back to the cave where the she-wolf who nurtured them, and they named it Lupercal. And it's thought that Lupercalia took place to honor this she-wolf and also please the Roman fertility god Lupercus. I hate that name. Now, this festival of Lupercalia, it is a journey, literally. So it begins at Lupercal Cave with the sacrifice of 1 or more goats, which are the representation of sexuality, as well as a dog. A little bit weird. So the sacrifices were performed by the Luperci, or sometimes Luperci, depends where you're from, but they were a group of Roman priests, and afterwards the foreheads of 2 naked Luperci were smeared with the animal's blood using this bloody sacrificial knife. The blood was then removed using a piece of milk-soaked wool as the Luperci left. Pagan holidays they're weird. They're real weird. So feasting began after the ritual sacrifice, and when the feast of Lupercal was over, the Luperci cut strips, also called thongs or februya, which was goat hide of the newly sacrificed goats. We're all thinking it. I don't even need to say it. We're all there. They then ran naked or nearly naked through the Palatine, whipping any woman within striking distance with the thongs. And I'm trying really hard to keep a straight face through this. Now, many women actually welcomed these lashes and even bared their skin to receive the consecration, believing it would make them more fertile through the coming year. So after all of that, there's still more. And during Lupercalia, the men randomly chose a woman's name from a jar to be coupled with them for the duration of the festival. And often the couples actually stay together throughout the year, usually ending up with them falling in love and marrying. Not a terrible ending for that. Now, Lupercalia survived the rise of Christianity, but was deemed unchristian, as expected, and it was outlawed at the end of the 5th century. And it was at the same time that Pope Gelasius declared February 14th Valentine's Day. Now onto the Christian side of things. There are multiple St. Valentines who died on February 14th. Now, one Valentinus, I think it's Valentinus, I don't know. One of them died in Africa along with 24 soldiers, and that's all the information we have. That's it. Another was arrested during the reign of Emperor Gothicus and put into the custody of an aristocrat named Asterius. There we go. I got there. Supposedly, Father Valentinus convinced Asterius that he could cure his daughter's blindness if Asterius would convert to Christianity. Now, the legend says that the father succeeded in curing this girl's blindness, and Asterius and the whole family were then converted. And obviously, Emperor Gothicus found out and executed them all. Though a woman did steal Valentinus's body so that he wasn't beheaded, he was just killed, and buried it at the location of a now present chapel. And the next Valentinus was a bishop of Terni within Italy. Apparently he did the same thing as the one before, only he healed the son of someone, and some actually think that the stories are the same, but regardless, none of these stories are exactly romantic. So that is the truth of the history of Valentine's Day. Much different than what media has us believing today. So myths say that St. Valentine performed Christian marriage rituals between Christian lovers that were put into jail by Emperor Gothicus. Others say that he fell in love with the blind girl that he healed. Another one states that he performed marriages for soldiers who were forbidden by the emperor because he felt that married men did not make good soldiers. In fact, there are so many legends around St. Valentine, whoever his identity may be, that I don't have time in a video to list them all. So in true humanity form, medieval Europe chose to listen to stories of miracles and tragedy, and thus St. Valentine's Day became a holiday. The romanticization of Valentine's Day became super popular in Europe thanks to Chaucer and Shakespeare. The writers have once more struck. So in the 14th century, Chaucer wrote the Parliament of Fouilles. That sounds fancy and I don't know how to say it. But this was on St. Valentine's Day, when every bird cometh there to choose his mate. This poem was written for the first anniversary of King Richard II and Anne of Bohemia, and is noted as the first moment of association between romance and Valentine's Day. In Shakespeare's Hamlet, Ophelia refers to herself as Hamlet's Valentine. Now, even back then, Valentine's cards were a thing. In the 1400s, people were giving handmade valentines to each other, and the oldest known Valentine was written by Duke of Orleans Charles to his wife while imprisoned in the Tower of London. During the Industrial Revolution in the United States, the holiday went big time. New machinery made it easy to mass produce factory-made cards, and in 1913, Hallmark cards offered pre-made valentines. It's estimated that 190 million valentines are sent each year in the US, and the average spending of US Valentine was $131 in 2013. So you can imagine what it is now. It's celebrated all around the world, and now as a commercial holiday, it's all about flowers, candy, jewelry, and fancy dinners. There you go. That is the truest as possible history of Valentine's Day. Lots of death, so you can understand why I don't necessarily like the holiday. But for those who do celebrate it, enjoy, be merry, do you. I don't really care what you do. So if you have any suggestions, any topics that you really want to know about but just don't feel like putting in the effort, I will do it for you in the next Why Is This a Thing video. So if you like that video, don't be afraid to hit that like button, comment below, or hit the subscribe button to become part of the Storytellers squad. And also in the description below, there is a link to my Patreon page, which you can go and support, and you get some fun patron-only videos, content. Lots of things happen there. Thank you for watching, and keep on shining, storytellers.